Write a Science Opera, or WASO for short, approach to creative science teaching is based on a methodology called Write an Opera, which was developed at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York about 30 years ago and brought over to Europe mainly by the Royal Opera House in London. The way that methodology works is that opera artists are invited into schools to work with teachers and pupils to create a completely original opera. And what happens in Write a Science Opera is that we allow that methodology to meet or to build a bridge into science education in schools. So we approach the science curriculum through that creative methodology, which is very multidisciplinary. In fact, what happens in schools is teachers or students choose a scientific theme and create an opera which is inspired by and which communicates the scientific inquiry process that happens in the science learning, and thereby offers different ways of knowing and different ways of learning and meeting the science curriculum. Yesterday evening I was presenting a related project, one that is related to the Write a Science Opera, and in that project, which is called Rosetta Stone, which is a neuroscience educational opera for the professional stage, is basically me as an educator going through the Write a Science Opera process. So I decided to write a science opera myself, so to speak. And I made contact with Professor Susan Greenfield, which is a very important figure in neuroscience research at the Oxford University, and asked her to help me put together a scientific framework which would be the inspiration for a neuroscience opera. There are several ways in which we can involve children in that specific opera. One would be to allow them to, for example, sing choir parts of the opera, learn sections of the opera, or to involve them in a process which is called a reference work methodology that is used, among others, by the Bergen National Opera in Bergen, Norway, in which children are introduced to sections, ideas, sounds, materials from an opera beforehand and are then exposed to those materials that they are familiar with while watching the opera, and then have a discussion.